this is Judy from Pirates, and I'm going to show you how I prefer to sew on a laced waistband onto a pair of underwear. I'm sewing up a little pair of boxer briefs here. I have the shortest cut line in this option, and I used all the same fabric, this beautiful floral, for the sides and the centers. I have done some prep work, so let me talk through that. Not only have I sewn up to this point, but I have marked my center front, center back, and quarter points on my underwear. I have also gone around the top edge with a 3/8 inch seam allowance and with a basting stitch. This is just for me to see and align my waistband with. I really prefer this method. You can also mark it with any kind of marking tool that you like. Chalk, a pen that will erase with heat, things like that. Whatever your favorite marking tool is, you can use. I really like to just run a basting stitch. I find it really quick and easy with stretch fabric because sometimes when you're trying to use a marking tool, it just kind of stretches out and it's kind of hard to get on there. And then also taking out, I find very easy as well. Just pull it out and then it goes really quickly. The prep work that I've done for my lace waistband, I like to use the elastic measurement here. I have it right sides together and sewn right here. I don't like to trim my seam allowance. I like to leave that full 3/8. And now I've just marked along the bottom my quarter points. You can align your seam in the center back, or you can align it on the side. It doesn't matter. I think I'm going to put mine on the side this time. I do both. It's just whatever you prefer. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to align the very bottom edge of my lace with my basting stitch. And then I'm also going to align my 4 quarter points. You're not going to need to stretch your lace. It's going to be like a 1-to-1 since we use that elastic measurement. I like that for lace. A stretch lace tends to not have a ton of stretch, so you don't want it too tight and kind of cutting into you. So I like to use the elastic waistband measurement. The knit waistband is a little bit snugger since knit tends to be super stretchy. If your lace happens to be super stretchy, you could always use the knit waistband measurement. Most stretch lace is going to be a little more stable. So I would recommend trying the elastic measurement, slipping it on, seeing how it feels. If it feels too loose, you can always trim it down a little bit. I'm just adding a few more pins, aligning this bottom edge to that basting stitch. This makes this step so much easier than if you skip the basting stitch or marking in any way, then it makes this next step a lot harder to get really nice and neat. And it's just a lot more difficult to sew on if you don't have a really nice, clear line to align your edge with. I'm going to zoom you in. I'm going to be attaching it with my cover stitch machine. I have my 2 widest needle settings. Again, it's whatever you prefer. I also like to use a triple step zigzag on my regular machine a lot to attach this. You can use a triple needle if you have a cover stitch machine. Whatever stretch stitch, top stitch that you like will work just fine. The stretch lace isn't super stretchy, so you don't need to worry about having a super stretchy stitch either. So just go with your favorite and what you prefer the look of, and it should be fine. I'm going to zoom in a little bit while we attach it. So hopefully you can see nice and close. I'm going to start at my seam on the lace waistband right here. And again, as I'm sewing, I'm going to stick my needles down before I move my pin out to make sure everything's set in place before I take off. You're not going to have to stretch anything as you're sewing here. All you're going to do is make sure that your edge of your lace is lined up to this line that you have marked, either your basting stitch like me or whatever you use to mark that with. Do not worry about following the scallop of your lace. If your lace has a big scallop, just place your left needle on the kind of the point of the scallops, and no need to follow the scallops in any way. My nail caught the lace and snagged it a little bit. Probably it won't be the last time this lace is snagged, so no worries. Edge of the underwear aren't completely flat. You kind of curve up and down. So that's why marking your 3/8 inch away is really, really helpful. As those underwear kind of curve up and down, you can follow it really easily if you marked it on the top side, just like me. I do recommend sewing from the top side, whether you're doing it on a cover stitch or a machine. Cover stitch, you never have a choice. You always have to sew from the right side. But I always sew from the right side, even if I'm on my regular machine. I think it's a lot easier to make sure you're getting your needles exactly where you want with that stretch lace. So now we can just show off what it kind of looks like from the front and what it looks like on the inside. So the only thing we have left to do is kind of trim away this tiny edge and remove our basting stitches. This is where using a really kind of bold color helps, because if you use a color that's kind of exactly the same as your fabric, sometimes it's hard to find, especially if you break a thread like I just did while you're pulling it out. I used pink, so not a super contrasting color to the white, but still easy enough that I'm not straining my eyes to find it. Then on the outside I used a hot pink, so there it is. It's already pulled out. It might be caught a little bit in some of the threads. There we go. Big long basting stitch. And now all we need to do is trim away the excess. I like to use these little tiny sharp embroidery scissors. When I'm doing this, it makes it a lot easier for me. You need to be very, very careful, since it is lace, that you are not catching your lace behind you. kind of fold it down like this to make sure you're not catching it. But you're just going to go around and you can trim it as tightly as you want it. You can get all the way down to that thread, or you can leave a little bit like I am. I'm just leaving a scant little piece there. If you don't want to do this, if you do not want to trim, you can only mark 1/4 of an inch from the top edge of your fabric. You just have to make sure to then be very, very, very accurate in your stitch. And then you won't even need to trim anything off because the 1/4 inch will leave just enough room for your stitch only. That's just a matter of preference. I'm going to speedily trim the rest of this. Here we go. There is our beautiful lace waistband. And a complete pair of these boxer briefs. I hope you enjoyed this option and method. It's nice and quick and easy. I really love a lace waistband. I think not only is it really beautiful, but it's also really comfortable. I find it kind of smoothing on that edge. I really love the way the elastic waistband looks. But sometimes when I fluctuate weight, the elastic waistband can kind of cut into me if I'm going up. And the lace waistband is a lot more forgiving and a lot more smooth usually. And I just love it. Don't forget to share if you do a lace waistband. I love to see. And let me know if you need any more help in the comments. And if anybody is wondering, this fabric, I know it is stunning. I have hoarded it in my stash for a very long time, so it is super old. I believe I got it from the Fabric Snob. It's custom knit. It's a really nice quality. And I finally decided to cut into it for underwear. It's a little easier for me to cut in for underwear for some reason because it used such a little piece, and I tell myself I'll have a lot more to make something else. But I get asked all the time where fabric is from, so that's where this little piece is from. All right, y'all. Have a good day, and I'll see you next video. Bye.